Hey guys, just got back from the show of shows. Now this is July of 2021 and it was a great show. I had a great time, a little bit hotter than February. As you probably know, they postponed it from last February because of the COVID. And they are going to have it again next February. I'll say a little bit about that at the end. But a lot of you said, hey Tom, are you going to do a video from the show? I did some video footage from the show. However, it's a little bit choppy because our battery died. I took some still pictures, tried to put it all together. Anyway, I wanted to bring you a sampling of what the show was like. Now, the Europeans couldn't come, and so for you, I feel sorry for you, you missed a lot. Other people, they just didn't feel like going. For you, you missed a lot. You know, my feelings about the show generally, gun shows, the attendances are dropping a little bit, and that was certainly true of this show. It seemed it was down a little bit, but again, the Europeans couldn't be there, and that was, in the past, has been a really big presence. But I was really impressed by was the number of subscribers, the number of you who came by the table just to say hello, and we'll do a tribute to all of you at the very end of this video. Now, here's some of the booty that I brought home with me. Having walked the tables and also just standing at our booth, people brought stuff by. Some of it I just took video of, and some of it I bought and brought home. So first, let me just show you some of the things that people brought by. So one of the first things that showed up was this. You've seen one before. I featured it on one of my videos. That's the original box. Mine was sealed, and pulled this one out, and there it is, a like new 1911 Colt holster made by Boit. Mine was 42. This one is dated 1944 in pristine condition. The guy that brought it over saw the video and said, hey, look what I have. I have one just like it. Now, he had it signed by George Mertz, who is over 90 years old. He was in D-Day and throughout Europe, and he was at the show, and so he asked him to sign this holster. Now, this is a second thing that came along, and this, of course, is a Radom Viz holster. Beautiful condition. Just look at the condition of that. Yeah, there's the proof mark, and you can see the Polish writing. Michael was the guy that brought it over from Georgia. He's actually from Atlanta, and he brought over some stunning Radoms. Here you see the cleaning rod. It has a G2 proof right there. And look at the condition of this. This is a Polish Eagle. Finish on it is just extraordinary. I'd say 99%. Just beautiful, and because of all the shine, you can barely see it, but it's a 1938. And you can see the magazine also has a G2 proof. Again, gun show, it's a little bit blurred, but that shows that it has the original fire blue. Here's the serial number, so you can see it's in the range for 1938. 2 extra mags that are also G2 proof, and you can see how they fit in the holster. So you actually, with 1 in the gun and 2 in the holster, you have 3 magazines to go along with your Radom. Now, I can't speak Polish, but I'm pretty sure that says, congratulations on your new book. Well, thank you for bringing that by, Michael. Here's another one of Michael's guns. You can see that this Radom is got a beautiful holster, mint condition, just like a time capsule. Now, this is one of the latest ones known. It's actually put together from parts. There's phosphated parts. You can see blued parts, and it's mismatched. So it was in the Steyr factory at the end, and just a remarkable gun. You see the wood grips. Here you see the serial number on the frame, which is pretty late in and of itself, K prefix and phosphated mag. But then, well, the magazine is Steyr marked. There's a proof mark right there from Steyr, and phosphated mag. Pretty rare gun. Latest one I've ever seen. I think the latest one he owns. And then the serial number is different on the slide, also late war, and then you see a serial number here, barely readable, but it's one of the last ones known. I think he said it is the last one known, so put together from parts. Okay, also from Michael, he brought me 3 Radoms. These are the holsters to go with it. You can see mint condition. Again, same Radom guy came back. He brought me some Kriegsmarine Radoms, and you can see the Kriegsmarine marking. This is a real early one. You can, well, they're all either no suffix or a suffix. Here's a 3-digit. Notice the ejection port, the barrels are blued, and just put together as rigs. They're absolutely pristine. And thank you, Michael, for bringing those by. Again, made my show. Let's move on to some pistols that I enjoy collecting. First of all, the CZ27. Actually, I enjoyed collecting them all. That was a police marked one. These are 2 Luftwaffe guns. You'll see the Waffen stamp on the guns. The top one is 9mm, and the one below it was 7.65. Here's the 9mm. I'm pointing that out, and the 2 proof marks. And it's in the Luftwaffe range, but that also means that it'll have a matching magazine. There you see the serial number, and it's in the Luftwaffe contract range, and there's the matching magazine. I apologize for the lighting, but again, we're not in the studio, we're at the show. But there's a matching mag. This one will be going up on our site. We brought this back with us. And there you can see 9mm, so it's the correct magazine. This is the second one. This is more common, 7.65, Waffen stamped. You then can see the serial range. Now this one, you'll notice that it is slide numbered for the Luftwaffe contract, and then frame numbered. And then just like the 9mm, this one will also have a matching magazine, which again is a Luftwaffe contract variation. This will be also going up on our site. So these are just guns that people came to our table and sold them to me. This is unusual in that it is Eagle K marked, which is a police contract. Again, barely visible, apologize, but we're at a show, a lot of people around, and then it is 42 dated. That's the Czech Eagle and 1942 dated. So this is a rare variation police gun, has the correct magazine. Often they'll be numbered right there. But this one is not. It is a police gun, but not numbered magazine. Speaking of police guns, here's a Police Eagle C, and as soon as I see that Eagle C low on the frame, usually it's right in the middle, I know it's an early one. Yeah, right there at the bottom. It's an early gun, and it's going to be Crown N. Before I even turn it over, there it is, Crown N, because the earliest ones, they put the Eagle C at the bottom, and this happens to be in the million serial range, a very a rare gun to find, and we will be offering this one on the site as well. Magazine is not numbered. Some of them are in that early serial range. It's a banner only magazine, high polish finish. Here's a rare gun. Actually, we brought this along to sell. This is our Model 6. Only 1,000 were made. You've seen this before. We broke up the group and brought this along. It got a lot of interest. It has a 9mm magazine. Looks a lot like the P38 magazine. But this was an experimental gun. Again, they only made 1,000. This is number 847. And looks like I moved on already. So this walked up. Camden brought this by. SS Tunic. It had SS Ruins, but he took them off, or somebody took them off, maybe to avoid capture. Including by the Russians. This inside the tunic, you can see the who made it, and these straps. I had not seen that before, but I talked to an expert there, and he said you hook that onto your belt, and that's because your belt, you're carrying ammo and grenades, and so they had one on either side. It would hold your pants up, hold the belt up, so you hook that to your pants on the inside. Now, Camden is a young collector, has stunning guns, and he said he got this from a family member, brought it home from the war. So what you see here, not only the SS Tunic, but we have an SSP under. If you go to my book, you'll see this is one of the rarest variations, a very, very rare gun in fantastic condition. Little bad spot there. I shouldn't ever point out the bad spots, but it's just got one little bad spot. Look at the fire blue on the safety. And a matching magazine, making it one of the rarest guns of the entire show. So I'm here at the show just walking around. Here's some really cool rifles, sniper rifles. Check this out. We got a K98 with the ZF scope. That's actually not even, I wouldn't even call it a scope. It's more of a sight. It like enhances the sight, but it doesn't really magnify it. Very minimal power, but this is a better sniper rifle. And double claw. This was captured in Normandy. Very nice sling. Beautiful gun, dated 1943. And I think the optics are real good on this one. Look at this. We got a BCD, long slide rail, minty condition. You can see the price to go with it. Oh, notice the phosphated parts. Beautiful stock. This is 1944. This is for winter use, so you can fire it with a glove. You don't have to put your glove through there. It's a modification, kind of rare. And some of my favorite pistols. Got some 1911s. So that's first one is a Colt, then an Ithaca, and what's the third one? Another Colt? Okay. And the last one is a Colt. This is the can for the ZF-41, which I already showed you. Here's an interesting gun that's right up my alley. PX gun number 12. It's Luftwaffe. So this was put together at the end of the war from parts from the Krieghoff factory, and then sold in the PX. And we just sold one of these recently. Very rare gun, very desirable. And look at the condition. It looks brand new, like the day it left the factory. A 1902 commercial. The 1902 is distinct because it has the grip safety, also the dish toggle, and this is considered a fat barrel, so it's in 9mm, makes it very rare. And it's a commercial gun. This is a very rare gun, actually. DWM, but it's not the American Eagle variation. And this is a restoration. But man, oh man, it looks
like brand new.
Yeah, it looks brand new, and you can't really tell the difference other than it's just really beautiful. And then last but not least, we got a Japanese pistol, which is the Type 94. We sold those in the past, and just a really beautiful gun. Has a matching mag and the holster to go with it. Oh, and an extra mag. So yeah, so when you come to the show, this is the kind of stuff you're going to see, but let's go see what Tom Whitman has. Here we are at Tom Whitman's table. I showed him last year with actually Craig Gottlieb. I'd just like to show you some of the daggers he has. I really am not well versed in daggers, but a lot of you like to see them. So these are the hewers. Actually, we start off with some gravity knives. Kurt, I know you sell those. Really nice gravity knives. We got some presentation daggers here. Again, I'm probably making mistakes. That's just because I don't know a whole lot about them. Some of my favorites, though, are the navies. And there's a whole case of Navy daggers here. A lot of you do business with Tom Whitman. So this is a DLV glider pilot. That's an unusual knife, kind of like the Luftwaffe, but a little shorter. There's an assortment here, Red Cross. This is a Luftwaffe variation here. And another Luftwaffe variation. These are really rare. You hardly ever see them, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. But they are the RLB daggers, and you just have to be really careful when you buy stuff like this because they do fake them. So you want to make sure you buy from somebody who's going to guarantee what they're selling. Oh, here's one that was a presentation. Albert Morgan. That doesn't sound like a German name. And Tom Whitman just walked up, so we can ask him about this.
I'll bet you anything that's the GI.
I was going to say Morgan sounds like the GI.
Yeah, and you would not have been allowed to do that, especially on the obverse. So a German would have never done that.
So Tom, you said you just bought this here at the show. So that even you sell and buy. So what is this? Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, you look at it and you say, oh, well, that's just an NCO sword. It's just a dove head. There's nothing on it. It's a nice condition, but so what? You can buy one of these for $300.
Right.
But the fun is here.
Oh, wow. All right, let's get a close-up of that.
That blue is.
Now, how do they do that? What's the process? Is that like a fire blue? Do you know how they do it?
whatever it was, it looks like it was done yesterday.
Yeah.
The preservation is the best I've ever seen.
So
and on the other side, they have the same deal. With,
I've never seen that before.
It's a tremendous sword.
Oh, that's beautiful. So that's gonna go up on your website, do you think?
Not for a while because I like it so much.
That's the way I am. I'll say it'll be for sale one day, but
Yeah.
not right now. All right, what else you got?
This, Tom, is the original wool bag that was used to store a sword.
Okay.
And the guy that bought this sword maybe wore it once. That's about it. But all this time, the 8 decades have gone by, and I don't believe this sword has ever been out of the bag, because when you, it's just unbelievable.
Wow.
Look at the condition
Oh
of
my
that.
gosh.
Brand
See,
new.
now that's worthy of my collection.
Brand new. And it's an acorn sword too. It's
Yeah, look
they,
at that.
They call this the rune pattern. And actually this was a pretty difficult sword to make because it's not a cast design. All the designs were hand engraved in it. See how it's
Yeah.
all in. So it's a very, very good piece. Just, how much is it worth? It's worth what somebody would pay for it,
Yeah.
because it's just unique. You'll never see anything in that condition.
And who would have been issued this sword?
It would have been any officer.
Okay.
With German swords, officers could buy whatever they could afford.
Okay.
And of course, the different companies all had different models and all, but I consider something like this just a treasure.
Yeah,
because
no,
it's a
absolutely.
miracle,
Yeah.
that it's.
How did it survive?
yeah.
Yeah, I did a video. I called it my time machine.
Yeah,
I go back in
that's the
time,
time
and I
machine,
say,
yeah.
this is the way this Luger looked the
Yeah.
day it left the factory. That's
that's the
how it
same
looked.
idea there,
The day
yeah.
it was born.
Yeah.
This is and it even has the original case.
Yeah, it's amazing too. There's not even any moth marks in the
Yeah.
bag.
I was looking for
even
that.
The
I was looking
bag
for-
must have been stored great.
Right.
So it just even the bottom. Usually these are broken out in the bottom.
Okay.
The leather is still perfect on
Yeah.
it. Just.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good seeing you again.
Nice to see you, Tom.
Okay, we're back at Bill Crozier's table. We were here last year, and a lot of you loved the stuff he had. Let's check some of it out. Here's a Nambu. The thing with Crozier is everything he has is just phenomenally beautiful. I mean, look at the condition of the grips, the condition of the bluing. This is the early, smaller trigger guard. And then later, again, due to gloves in the winter, they went to the larger trigger guard. So you can see the differences in the early to late. These are dated right here, so 12, and you just add 25 to that to get the year. And here's another one, 12. And then you can see this one is 18, so it's a later gun. But again, just take a look at this condition. Check out the other side. You do have the scratch marks from the safety, but just absolutely beautiful. Now this would be, here's one that's really late. Notice the grip, because toward the very end, they were just rushing them out, so they didn't bother putting the grooves in it. So this one is really in the groove. And that's, see the 20, 520, so 20 plus 25, this is 1945. And 5, of course, is May. So this is May of 45. And of course, the war was over by August. So here we have a 1911 Colt. It's a government model, not military. There's no inspector proof here. That's a 2-color early magazine. That's the correct one. Government model, so it'll have a C on the serial number, and sure enough it does. Has a couple smudges on it, but that's all good. Beautiful finish. And there's a ballpark number on that. That's actually not too bad for a gun in this condition. One of my favorites are the artillery. So this one is a 1917. That's the most common date. 14 is the first year, and they're kind of hard to find because they're pretty rare. This is the military proofs on this side. Condition, look at the front strap and the back strap. Magazine usually is numbered here. This one is blank, which is fine because then you can say all matching with a blank magazine. And this one comes with this holster, which is correct. That's correct. This configuration was altered. Right here is the maker and the date. It looks like 1916, if you can see that. So before the 1911, of course, this is a model 1902. It's military because they have the lanyard, and that was ordered 1902 military, manufactured in 1919. Again, that's not a bad price for this gun, a gun in this condition. They're certainly a lot rarer than the 1911. They're a little awkward, and they're in 38 caliber. And 38 caliber, of course, then the Army went to the 45 caliber with the 1911. They preferred the heavier load. Okay, you guys can never get enough Lugers, so I'll show you this Luger. We see the police, Sears safety, we've talked about that before. It actually had a magazine safety here. You can see the cut and the cutout here, but they removed that. That was often the case. People would get annoyed by it. So it had a magazine safety that's been removed. Keeps it from going off because there's one in the chamber. So this is 1920, so it was 9mm. It was made between the wars, and 1920 may or may not have been the date. It might have been later than that, but that was a sign that it was reworked, DWM. Beautiful condition. You see on the front strap, unit mark, that would be the police unit. I don't know what that one stands for. I could look it up, but I don't have my resources here. So just a beautiful DWM. This is a BYF 42. Would be a Black Widow if it had black grips, but in fact it has wooden grips and the aluminum bottom. This is just a beautiful condition gun. You can see the straps are beautiful. Some of these HSCs here I want to talk about because just look at the condition of this HSC. Look at the front strap. Just incredible. It's just worth the price of admission to see the guns in this condition. Now this has the lantern loop in the back that they later did away with. So this is an early gun, you can tell, so that's 777. I believe they started in about 700,000. So this is an early one. Then later, this is not a later one, they still have it. Later they got rid of that and it just was a solid frame in the back, just because they never really used the lantern. But here's two remarkable guns side by side, both of them very early, both in beautiful condition. I like this one a little bit better because of the color of the grip. It's just, kind of a blonde color. It's beautiful. The wood grain on this one is a little bit darker, but I like the contrast with the early wood grip. I should point out that this is a police model. You can see it's an Eagle L. This is also Eagle L. My son just corrected me. This is, of course, not a lantern. This is a lanyard. We've already seen a couple of vises in this show. The Radom factory was where it was located, and this is the Viz is the model. You can see that written here. This is slotted, so it was early Nazi-proofed. Again, beautiful condition. You see the A prefix. The other one I have, the last one I have, is this is a later one. It's in the B block, but this is a good example. I did a video just on the Viz, and I talked about how they numbered them. So they did A to Z, and then they started over again, A to Z. So this is A, the first round, and this is B, the second round. And you can see the difference. This is what they call a 3-lever. I keep putting my smudge marks on there, so I apologize to the owner. But you have 1, 2, 3 levers, and by the end of the production, they remove this extra safety. Again, cost cutting and simplification, so it only has the 2 levers. And of course, with the wooden grips, this is, I believe that's a dull blued finish. They also Parkerized them, but this looks a little too dark to be Parkerized. So this is a late war dull finish with the wooden grips, and this is the second round of B block. And then they went all the way up to K, and then production stopped. So this is probably 1944. Lastly, let's look at some holsters. He always has beautiful guns, but also look at these beautiful holsters. That's an SA marked holster. And it'll be ACA right there. And you can see on the inside is for the Walther PP. Here we have a Luger holster, but it's unusual in the fact that the strap is going up. And so what I realized is this is an artillery Luger because it had a place for the cleaning rod. Artillery Luger that was modified after World War I, probably never issued, beautiful condition, but they did modify it, and it is marked 1915. So that's just a gorgeous holster. It was modified here and modified for the length of the barrel. I've shown these before. This is a Thurman holster. The Thurman is the patent and the man who invented this style or made this design. You can see it's for a Walther PPK, also called like a dropping holster, but really it's a Thurman. This is the patent number, and it was made by Aka. This fits a PPK very nicely. And would look good with a commercial gun or a Luftwaffe gun in particular. Here's a holster a lot of you are looking for. This is the tropical holster or the African Corps holster. It's Luftwaffe. This goes to a Femeru Model 37, 7.65. That's the Luftwaffe proof, and the canvas was the tropical style, so this was used by the Africa Corps. Here's a really rare holster. This is actually a Navy, but it was probably made toward the end of World War I, because this would be a World War I Navy Luger with the longer barrel and room for the cleaning rod. Not quite as long as the artillery. Here's an artillery holster. You can see the difference. Artillery is longer, Navy is a little bit shorter. But what's unusual about this is there's no maker mark. I was looking at it earlier. There's no maker mark, but it is definitely a late World War I era Navy Luger holster. Maybe it went to a commercial variation after the war. You're not going to believe who I ran into at this show. Von Hindenburg was here. He's looking a little aged, but von Hindenburg was the president during the Weimar era, and he, of course, helped broker the deal to have Hitler step into power in 1933. So I'm at a table of a friend of mine, Mark, and I know he collects Olympias. Here you'll see a really nice assortment of absolutely beautiful Olympia pistols. I don't know all the different variations, but I do know we've sold these before. This is the Jaeger model. Then you can see they're all 22 caliber, and their target pistols are used in competition. I guess Olympia is because they used them in the Olympics. But you can see the different models. Crown end proof, of course, would mean these are pre-war. And also a Makarov with 2 matching mags. We've sold those on our site. The one that I wanted to show you in particular is this one. And this is a Beretta, very similar, but look at the engraving on that. Absolutely beautiful. And Mark, I would guess this is over $100. He's saying a smidge over, but just check that out. Now these weights, they would add the weights to give it balance. I always felt like it weighed it down. But when you're a shooter, it means a lot to have the weights and the nice grip. A 10-shot magazine. They feed beautifully. I have shot in Olympia, and they are remarkably made guns. Again, this is a Beretta. And look at the checkering even up in through here. So an absolutely beautiful gun. You can see the logo there. So Mark also collects 8s and 9s. You'll see a couple 8s and a couple 9s. In fact, he calls me on a regular basis whenever we get an 8 or a 9, and we usually haggle a little bit, but we've done a lot of business over the years. In fact, Mark is listed in the acknowledgments of my book. So he's been a big help in my collecting career. Just learned a lot from Mark. So this Model 9 in particular, it doesn't have the little cutout. There's a little arch so that you can get the magazine out. So this is really early before they change that design. Okay, yeah, here you can see what I'm talking about. The arch right here, it helps you just get a fingernail in there, whereas with this, you can pull this back, but it's hard to get up in there. So they changed the design pretty early on so that it's a little easier to get the magazine out. You can see the mag bottom also. That's Walther banner. I assume this is an earlier model with no Walther banner. They often use this holster. It's almost like a little sock. There's one here as well. You can see the 2 different styles. That one looks like it has a Walther banner on it. This one, they're just very thin, but it's a cute little purse kind of a holster. And this one came in this box, so this really early one came in this box, which I've not seen before. I've seen the green box, but that is the retailer that sold it. And then it also has the original manual. Very hard to find in this condition. Oh, there's the retailer again. So they have the bull moose, no, the bull elk there, but I don't think that the Model 9 would actually take one down. By the way, there's nothing in there. It just keeps the, people will say, what's in the little package here? Nothing. So no show is complete without visiting Bob Simpson's table. I come by every year and usually find something to buy. He has some Lugers here, and I did take a look at a Krieghoff. We've sold them. They have a 1936. They also have an S code, which was 36. Then they had a 1936, and this is just a 2-digit 36, which is a little rarer. You see the upside down proof mark. There's no serial number here, but this would be all matching. And oh, these are the earlier Ritz grips, which is a finer checkering. We've talked about this before, but you see the shiny outer ear and the inner ear is kind of a dull, so you know this is all original, beautiful gun. But Bob also has a very rare, I guess it's a machete, really.
Yes.
And he said he's never seen one before, so I never saw one before. Okay, so we know about the drilling, Luftwaffe drilling, which was a survival weapon. But also, if you were shot down, I guess you could use this to cut off somebody's head. No, it's to hack your way through the jungle. And you can see the maker, Soligan, and then an Eagle F. So yes, this was issued to the police. There's the scabbard. And some of you are saying, I don't believe it. Why would the police have this? But that's why we have documentation, and it actually documents this variation of machete. Again, I had never heard of one before. So it's theorized that there was only 57 machetes that were issued. I see a Luftwaffe marking here. So they were issued as a survival weapon. If you were shot down, you had a machete, and here's the documentation about it. So if you've never seen one before, either have I. We see these M1 carbines. I love the carbines. They shoot great. This is an early one. You see the eye cut? That's the early one. Here's an early one, eye cut, and it has the cartouche here. These are all original configuration. You notice there's no Bayo lug, and also it has the flip sight. So these are all original, beautiful, early ones. I assume, is this yeah, this is an inland. This is a standard products. Now this one does not have the eye cut, a little bit later. And you can see the stock has been kind of dinged up, but it's still all original configuration. And this is a Rockola, which is kind of rare. And also a little bit more money. They all go by rarity in terms of makers. Collectors of carbines, of course, like to have one of every maker. And then you can get different years, most of them starting in around 42 and then all the way to 45. Here's another early one that's eye cut, and this one is an Underwood from 43. This has got to be a pretty rare tunic. It is SD marked. I don't know a whole lot about it, but if it's on this table, I'm sure it's authentic, and I don't have any idea about the price. Here's another tunic with a death's head. The piping tells a little bit about the unit, and I'm sure somebody will write in, but this is like a red or a pink piping. This gray hair probably is not all original, because they usually weren't that old. This has to be Waffen SS. Here we have a unit, which I don't know what that stands for, but again, somebody can write in. Get a ballpark number here. You can see that this is a pretty healthy investment to buy an original tunic like this. I don't know where he finds this stuff, but he always has great uniforms. This would be like, I guess, like an overcoat. It goes over your uniform for Luftwaffe. So the guy was probably a mechanic, and this was the tunic he would wear with the legs in it. Coveralls, that's what the word I'm trying to think of is a coverall. Here's the Luftwaffe that's camouflage. I'm sure that's very rare. You never know what you're going to see here. Here's a German mortar. mess kit with plates and things. This is actually US. We've got a little bit of everything. And then 2 rangefinders. This one actually has a big harness, big contraption, but it's a shoulder held rangefinder. Here's where you look through. I never understood how these work, but this is a German rangefinder, and I'm sure very rare. So I saw you walking around the show. This is very cool. This is original?
No, this is actually a reproduction uniform.
Well, I noticed you dirtied it up a bit.
Yeah. So it's actually a process called CC2. So during the war, they were worried about poison gas getting on the skin, so they treated it with a substance that makes it look dirty. But we've been able to replicate it. I'm a World War II reenactor, so this is the uniform I use.
What's your name?
Corey Vaughn.
Corey Vaughn, thanks. I love the boots.
Thank you.
So let's look at the insignia. So this would be pretty close to what it looked like originally.
Yes.
And your rank is a sergeant?
Yes, sir.
I love the way he says yes, sir.
Hey.
That's what I'm reenacting. He practices that. So we'll get the airborne patch. And by the way, when you're, and I love that. Now, see if you had a smoking jacket with that, it'd be very dignified.
Very fancy, yeah.
Now, we walk into shows, one of the things, you do see people walking around with Russian uniforms. I didn't see any Japanese uniforms at this show.
No.
Okay, I see Russians, Americans, not too many Germans, but thanks, appreciate it. You look great.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank
You know, I think it's important to remember, and I love to see young people who honor our vets.
As a reenactor, that's what we do. If we can just be a little bit more appreciative of what others have done for us, then I've done my job.
Hey, yeah, that's great. Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
So as I mentioned before, a lot of people stopped by wanting to get their pictures taken, so much so that I decided, hey, I'm going to do a tribute to those people who came by, and I promised I would put video of all of you. Here's some of the pictures that we took. Now, I had tons of women, great-looking women, all coming by just to meet me. No, there's a couple, there's guys, more guys. Well, maybe I just imagined that. So more seriously, most of the guys that came by were customers of ours, subscribers, and generally just really talked about how much they enjoy our videos. So to all of you who stopped by, I want to say a hearty thank you. Aha! Here's the 2 women who asked for me. This family came by. They are good customers, and I really enjoyed meeting all of you. So that was just a sampling of what I saw at the show, and you already saw on my floor just a portion of what I brought home. I will do a separate video about the offerings that we have, the things that I bought. Many are on consignment here, but a lot of it we bought. But the best part of the show was meeting all of you. So much so, I mean, I had such a good time, and we just laughed and joked together, and that was really cool. But one of the things on the way home that my crew all decided is next year, well, let's have a private reception just for our subscribers. So we're going to set it up back at our hotel. One of the nights, maybe Friday night when the show's over at 5 o'clock. We'll have a private meeting for some of you to just stop by and bring some of your private stash, and I'll bring some of my private stash, and we'll just swap stories. So stay tuned and make sure you like and subscribe to this channel because better things are coming your way.